make this pencil disappear. It's gone.
So, we're going to be starting off this video with some information that I'm going to wait about 20 seconds before I say the name so we can try to get past the algorithms. And I'm trying new formats. How about that? Let's do that for filler. I'm trying new formats. So as you can see, I'm outside touching grass and what have you. I want to be able to change the scenery up from video to video. You know, maybe I'll do some at home. Maybe I'll do something like this where I'm outside. You know, it's all cool. But yes, if you are from the other channel, welcome back. I'm not dead. If you are completely new, welcome. What we talk about on here is peculiar, out-of-pocket subjects. Sorry for the wind. Again, this is a new format. But yes, as you can see, the title of the video is The Only Fool Is You. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. I don't think that. I don't think you are a fool at all. But the powers that be certainly think you are a fool. So today I'm going to be talking about names in the list, and I'm just going to tell you right up front, I'm not covering every single name in the list because it was like 1,000 plus. So, and I think this video is already going to be long. So basically the idea of this video is to give you people that on the list that I thought were either notable, famous, or incredibly powerful, and just basically let you have it. Like, boom, this is the list. These are the people. These are the folks that you bank with. These are the people that you or your kids or siblings, whatever, look up to. These are the people that run your life, and this is what they do in their spare time. Now, also, I do want to preface this as well. Every name that I list, listen, you're not about to get me in court. You're not about to, I ain't got no money, okay? I have no money for y'all to take. So every name that I list does not mean that they are automatically guilty. It just means that they were in Epstein's little black book. He just has their contact information. That's very important to note, okay? Because we don't know. Some of these people could be victims. It's a weird tangle of mess. So I'm just naming people that were in the list, and I'm naming a little bit about them. A little bit about them, a little bit about their background, what they did, you know, professionally, or what they're known for, and so forth. So without further ado, without further yappage, let's get into some names. Alejandro Agag is a Spanish businessman and currently the chairman of Addicts Capital. He began his career in political adventures, but over time moved into business ventures and sporting activities. Some of these political highlights were being the political aid of the Prime Minister Jose Maria Anzar in '96. That win though, shit, I hope this doesn't pick up. Sorry y'all, I'm trying new shit. Being a member of European Parliament for Partido Popular, and being Secretary General of the European People's Party in 2000. Azzedine Alaya is a Tunisian courtier and shoe designer with most of the success coming from the 1980s, but they have been seen with names such as, I'm just going to read it up, Michelle Obama, Madonna, Lady Gaga, Victoria Beckham, Kim Kardashian, Gwyneth Paltrow, and Beyonce have all been seen sporting goods and fashionista products from Azzedine Alaya. Alec Baldwin. Alec Baldwin is a United States producer, actor, comedian, basically a person on TV. They're known for a bunch of different things. You can find Alec Baldwin's resume pretty deep. Unfortunately, recently in years, he's been in hot water for shooting someone. Now, it was supposed to be a mishandling of the weapon. It wasn't supposed to be on purpose. So if anything, you know, it was an accident, but it was for a movie, and it called for a gun and for somebody to get shot, and apparently they put real bullets in it. I will never, ever, ever understand how that happens. I feel like you should have special Hollywood guns with special Hollywood, I don't know, I mean, it's just weird. I always think it's weird, right? It's weird, and they were supposed to have people that, you know, did the protocols to make sure that they weren't going to, you know, put a cap in somebody, but they put a cap in somebody. But anyways, yeah, that's a little bit about Alec Baldwin. But here's also some more fun facts. Sorry, I'm gonna apologize in advance. I will be reading, bro. There's like 9 pages here. I'm sorry, I can't remember all this. But for Alec Baldwin specifically, I thought this was weird, so I wanted to include it because even though I've known Alec Baldwin for years, I didn't know this. But Alec Baldwin claimed that when he shot a scene with his co-star Nikki Reed, he had no clue she was 16 at the time when they filmed these sex scenes for the movie. Dana Brunetti, who produced the film with none other than, oh boy, Kevin Spacey, says that not only did Baldwin know, but nothing was ever hidden about it at the time. So, yeah. You know, do with that information as you will. Doug Band. Doug Band is an interesting person. I just recently figured out about this guy from like another YouTuber. But Doug Band is like one of those people that was always there. You just didn't notice him because he's not the person in charge. He just helps the person in charge. And that person in charge was Bill Clinton. So he was literally Bill Clinton's like shadow. Shit, bugs. But yeah, Doug Band was literally Bill Clinton's shadow. He's an American businessman and a lawyer who is a founding partner and former president of Teneo, a multinational C-suite advisory firm and investment bank. And as far as like the actual official position, he was the deputy assistant to Bill Clinton. And this is going to be some information that I think is peculiar as well. So he was a key player in Clinton's post-presidency initiatives and helped create and build the Clinton Global Initiative, which was financed by Jeffrey Epstein. That's crazy and weird, right? In 2002, Doug Band joined Bill Clinton, Chris Tucker, Kevin Spacey, and possibly more. And what they did, you can find information about it kind of sprinkled throughout the internet, but they basically like went on a tour through Africa, and it was to spread awareness about HIV/AIDS. And they just kind of went from like country to country inside of Africa, talking about HIV and AIDS. But yeah, what a weird plane of people in a private jet. You got Bill Clinton, Doug Band, Chris Tucker, Kevin Spacey, and of course the person who owned the plane, Jeffrey Epstein. And I thought this was also important to include as well, because he decided in 2020 he wanted to distance himself. He claimed he had no clue Epstein was doing all of this criminal activities, even though he was in the flight log 26 times, and 2 of those flights didn't even have Clinton. So, you know, he tried to play it off as like, I didn't even know, I mean, I was around Epstein, but I was around Epstein because, Clinton. But he was, on 2 occasions, he was with Epstein and Ghislaine Maxwell in the flight logs without Clinton even being with them. And by the way, I'm just going to say it now. I know her name is actually pronounced Ghislaine Maxwell, but I just think it's kind of funny that people call her Ghislaine, given how appropriate, all of this mess is. So I'm going to continue to call her Ghislaine throughout the rest of the video. So, David Blaine. This list is so wonky, man. So David Blaine is a magician slash illusionist, very popularized in like the 90s and I think maybe even like the early 2000s, doing a bunch of different, wackadoodie cockamamie tricks. How did he do that? How did he blah, blah, blah. One of the coolest ones I thought was like he like stayed in like frozen ice. I forget how long, 24 hours, a day, a week, a month. I don't know. But he was like some kind of frozen block of ice, just standing there with like no food or water or nothing, just standing up for I don't know how long. So yeah, he's done that. He tried to like make it look like he levitated or something. Bunch of weird stuff. London's police department asked David Blaine to travel to the UK for an interview regarding allegations by former model Natasha Prince that he had raped her at a house in Chelsea, West London in 2004. Speaking through his lawyer, he vehemently denied the allegations and said he'd fully cooperate with the police. Detectives later dropped the investigation. 2 years later, in 2019, at least 2 more women came forth to the NYPD for his sexual assault allegations, and that's David Blaine. Michael Bloomberg, former mayor of NYC and also the founder of Bloomberg LP, which is a huge financial news company. In 2020, Forbes named him the 16th richest in the world. That's all I got for him. Jean-Luc Brunel, nicknamed the Phantom for his ability to evade long sentences in European child abuse scandals. He was a French model talent scout for MC2 Model Agency. In late 2020, he was intercepted by police in Paris as he was about to depart for Senegal to be brought for questions related to rape, sexual assault, human trafficking, and conspiracy involving minors. He was charged in 2021 with drugging and raping a 17-year-old in the 90s and 2000s. He claimed he was innocent. In 2022, he was found dead in his jail cell for hanging himself. He had attempted suicide several times before, so this isn't as suspicious as Epstein. He had been caught numerous times trying to kill himself. Joan Juliette Buck, an American writer and actress, also editor-in-chief of French Vogue from 94 to 2001. That's all I got on Joan. Jimmy Buffett, American singer slash songwriter, author, and businessman. That's all I got on Jimmy.
The fuck is that?
What the hell is this in my ear? Ron Burkle was also part of the 2002 private jet trip throughout Africa. So look at that, we got more names. But he returned home separately, flying commercial, because he said Epstein is creepy. And that makes me think about the people that decided to keep flying with him. Graydon Carter, a Canadian journalist who was the editor of Vanity Fair from 92 to 2017. Shit. Oh my God. John A. Katsimatis, an American billionaire, businessman, and radio talk show host. He is the owner, president, and chairman and CEO of Gristedes and D'Agostino supermarkets in Manhattan. He was also the runner-up in the Republican nomination for mayor of NYC in 2013. Yes, Bill Clinton, aka Trill Clinton. Israeli Prime Minister Netanyahu used sexual blackmail on Bill Clinton. And long story short, if you know anything about Monica Lewinsky, it's because of Netanyahu. So he told him, basically, hey bro, I got these audio tapes of what you did, with Monica Lewinsky, and nobody has to hear them if you let out this spy. So apparently we had some kind of spy that was captured, and he basically said, listen, let him out or else people are going to hear these tapes. And I don't think we ever heard the tapes, but the news itself kind of broke out, and that gave Clinton enough leverage to at least, say the famous line, I did not have sexual relations with that woman or whatever. But apparently they still have the tapes. And I think they said it's like over 20 hours of basically him having phone sex and gooning on the phone with Monica Lewinsky. Ridiculous stuff. But yeah, now there are photos that you can see of Bill Clinton in the flight logs. But funny enough, some of the victims of Epstein came forth and they said that Bill Clinton didn't do anything with them. So they said he was nice, he was cool, he was charismatic, but he didn't do anything with any underage women. But we do know that Bill cheats on Hillary, and I don't condone cheating, but I get it. Now, this is the thing that I kind of find a little weird and hilarious. I want to read this verbatim. So basically when all this kind of blew up and they were like, oh shit, Bill, you're in the Epstein tapes. He came out and he quote unquote said, he said, I think the evidence is clear. And he said that when people didn't have any evidence, only speculation. So it's like, why the hell would you do that? If there was rumors going around about me that said, yo, bro, I heard you did this, and there was no evidence against me or anything, and all I said was, the evidence will speak for itself, with no context, that's not crazy. Like, what the fuck was he thinking? Next on the list is going to be David Copperfield. So, David Copperfield is an American illusionist and magician, very similar to David Blaine, except like a decade earlier. So he did a lot of his stunts in like the 80s and then the early part of the 90s. It's like literally almost like David Copperfield, and then you crossfade over to David Blaine. But he's, both of them still have fans. But anyways, he was a magician. He's broken multiple records in the Guinness Book World Record. Yeah, David Copperfield. I think what they said one of his biggest stunts was he somehow made an entire plane disappear. So his gets deep as well. And again, I apologize for looking down so much and not making eye contact with you beautiful people, but bro, 9 pages of stuff. I want to make sure I get everything right, because I ain't trying to get no weird papers sent to my doorstep talking about I'm summoned in court.
You fucking accuser! Get the fuck out of here, you fucking accuser!
This is stuff that you can just find, but again, the whole reason I'm putting it together for y'all is because they spread all this information so thin, you don't know what's what, you don't know if this is happening here, if this is tied to that. So yeah, he was also accused of sexual assault in 2007 by Lacey L. Carroll, but a federal grand jury in Seattle closed the investigation in 2010 without bringing any charges. Also in 2010, the Bellevue City Prosecutor's Office brought misdemeanor charges on Lacey Carroll for prostitution and allegedly lying to police in another incident. She filed a civil lawsuit against Copperfield, which was later dropped. In 2018, Copperfield was accused again of drugging and assaulting a teenager in 1988. He had a quote, and I want to go ahead and get this from the LA Times. Weirdly enough, the link no longer works for the quote, so I wasn't able to get it. And funny enough, when I kept scrolling down to look for more information, I find this out. In 2024, there was a new headline by LA Times, and David Copperfield denies 16 women's entirely implausible. I mean, is it really implausible? Bro, we got UFOs now. You having sexual misconduct with 16 women is not nearly as implausible as that. I want you guys to start thinking about this, because there's a lot of overlap, right? A lot of these people, I'm not gonna say a lot, but some of these people mysteriously have a bunch of sexual, assault allegations, and they're also in Epstein's Black Book. Again, I'm not claiming anything.
You motherfucking accuser!
But I'm just saying it's a lot of coinky dinks. So let's move on to America's dad. Bill Cosby, comedian, actor, activist, funny enough, he was known for having clean, family-friendly comedy. Super big in the 80s, but he's done a bunch of things. So you know him from The Cosby Show, you know him from Kids Say the Darndest Things, you know him from Pudding Pops. That's The Cosby Show? Yeah, you know him from Fat Albert. So it's a bunch of things he's done. And apparently, according to Dave Chappelle, he also provided the speaker system for Martin Luther King's I Have a Dream speech. So a lot of cool things, right? And he also allegedly drugged and raped over 60 women. That's insane. So that's Bill Cosby. Katie Couric is an American journalist and presenter. She has notable credits of CBS, Evening News, 60 Minutes, Yahoo News, and The Today Show, and she began her career at CNN. Katie Couric. Andrew Cuomo, not to be confused with his brother, is a U.S. politician and former governor of New York. Beginning December 13th, 2020, Lindsey Boylan, who is a former aide for Cuomo, alleged that he sexually harassed her for years, claiming that many people saw it and just stood by and watched. Alan Dershowitz is a high-profile lawyer and political commentator who is also an outspoken advocate of Israel and their policies. He's best known for aiding in the legal defense for O.J. Simpson, Mike Tyson, Klaus von Bülow, Jeffrey Epstein, Julian Assange, Harvey Weinstein, and Donald Trump. But there's plenty more. But yeah, he was also named by Virginia, who is a very notable and prominent victim who has been outspoken and speaking about all of the atrocities that Epstein and his cohorts have done over the years. So most of the time when I say victim, I'm probably referring to her moving forward, because like I said, she's pointed out a lot of famous and powerful people that actually did participate. But her claims is that he definitely participated and was involved in the sex trafficking with Epstein. But then he threatened to sue her for defamation and encouraged Prince Andrew to do the same. And shortly afterwards, Virginia was like, you know what? I think I remembered the events wrong. I don't think it went down like that. So then she retracted her statements. Bernie Ecclestone, known for being the founder and CEO of Formula One Group, also he has connections with Tony Blair. And I don't want to say how he has connections with Tony Blair, but it has nothing to do with sex trafficking that I know of. Morgan Fairchild is an American actress who was starred in several soap operas such as Search for Tomorrow, Dallas, Flamingo Road, and many more. Sarah Ferguson is a former wife of Prince Andrew, and she is also an author and a philanthropist and TV personality. She was married to Prince Andrew in 1986 and had known him since childhood. They separated 6 years later in 92 and divorced 4 years later in 96. In the years afterwards, she was the subject of scandals that affected her relationship with the royal family. John Gutfreund, bro, I told you these names gonna get me, is an American banker, businessman, and investor. He was the CEO of Solomon Brothers, which was an investment bank that was big in the 80s, and in a Herculean effort, he turned the company from a private partnership into a publicly traded corporation. In 1985, Businessweek called him the King of Wall Street. Tom Ford. I think a lot of us know who Tom Ford is, but if you don't, he's an American fashion designer and filmmaker known for his influential fashion business and being known for saving Gucci from damn near bankruptcy and transforming it into the fashion powerhouse that we know today. He also worked as a creative director for Saint Laurent. Steve Forbes, an American publishing executive and politician who is the editor-in-chief of Forbes. Mick Jagger is an English singer, songwriter, actor, and film producer who has worldwide fame, also being one of the founding members of the Rolling Stones. Man, this was crazy. RFK Jr. currently is the U.S. Secretary of Health and Human Services, and of course is related to the well-known Kennedy family. He began his career being sworn in as the Assistant District Attorney for Manhattan, and after failing the bar exam, he resigned in July of 1993. 2 months later, pled guilty to heroin possession in South Dakota, where he went on to serve 2 years of probation and community service, which, bro, you can get a felony drug possession charge, and all you get is 2 years of community service and probation. That's insane. I guess the government still felt bad for the Kennedys at the time, and they were like, He also had sexual allegations for engaging in sexual misconduct with Eliza Cooney, a 23-year-old babysitter for his children at the time. And she would claim that he would ask her stuff like, give me some massages, touch my body, all this kind of stuff. And yeah, that's what he did. Now, his rebuttal to this is insane. I don't know if he had the brain worm in him at this time. I don't know why he would say this. I'm going to read this because this is crazy. He says, "I am not a church boy. I had a very, very rambunctious youth. I said in my announcement speech that I have so many skeletons in my closet that if they could all vote, I could run for king of the world." That had to be the brainworm talking. Moving further on, there's still more to say. This actually has nothing to do with that, but I just thought this was weird. This is one of those things that just kind of hits the news once, and then I guess people just move on and forget about it. But unrelated, his former wife, Mary Richardson, made multiple concerning comments to a longtime friend of hers, claiming she feared for her life, claiming that RFK repeatedly told her that she would be better off dead and that things would be easier if she committed suicide. Well, Mary Richardson died in May of 2012 from suicide. Courtney Love is an American singer, guitarist, songwriter, and actress who was married to Kurt Cobain. She dropped a solo album titled America's Sweetheart, as well as multiple projects with Hole. Rosa Monckton is an English businesswoman of Tiffany & Co. She was close friends with Epstein since the early 80s, saying he has many layers, and what you see is not what you get when it comes to him. She also mentioned that she was close to someone who was close to someone that was part of MI6. And just in case you don't know who they are, they're like, I think the British Secret Service or English Secret Service. I don't know. In editing, I'll put it at the bottom of the screen, but it's basically like the CIA or the Secret Service, but for another country. I don't know why she wanted to just throw that information out there, but now I'm throwing it to you. So, Chris Tucker is an American comedian, stand-up comedy actor, best known for things such as Friday, the Rush Hour series, The Fifth Element, and a few more movies. So, Chris Tucker, you know what's funny is like knowing that he was tied in with these people, like this makes me wonder, because I don't know if y'all remember Chris Tucker, or maybe you're not, you know, in the circle, or maybe you're too young, but Chris Tucker was like a pretty big actor in the 90s, and he just kind of like stopped. He just stopped acting, and it's not like he really fell off per se. Like it wasn't like people were like, oh, like certain actors fall off, like their movies just start getting cheesy and corny, and you just don't want to see him. No, he was like hot most of his career, and then he just stopped. He just bloop, I'm off the map, just done. And he'd do like a movie like every 5 to 10 years, and that was about it. But it makes me wonder if this now has anything to do with it, because a few things changed with Chris Tucker over time. For one, he didn't return to any of the Friday movies because he said that he wasn't making enough money and he wanted more money. He got that with Rush Hour, he got that with The Fifth Element, and a few other movies down the line. But if you remember what I said earlier, he was literally on the private jet with Epstein, with Bill Clinton, Kevin Spacey, Doug Band, and I forgot the dude's name I mentioned earlier. You can rewind. But he was on that private jet traveling around the continent of Africa with them. I'm wondering if any of this had anything to do with changing who he was as a person, because he also became way more Christian after that. So I don't know if he saw enough demons during that trip to look to God or what, but he changed. He stopped acting a lot. He just kind of fell out of the limelight. He was just like, I'm just going to fall back. Barbara Walters was an American broadcast journalist, author, and TV personality who was friends with Epstein and another man named Roy Cohn, who was an American lawyer and prosecutor. And the reason why I want to put his name in too, he wasn't on the list, but I'm giving you a combo of things here. So he mentored and represented Donald Trump, talking about Roy, and as well as being known for sex blackmail allegations, very similar to Netanyahu, but this one's going to get a little tricky. If you don't know, there were rumors about J. Edgar Hoover, who, according to the rumors, he enjoyed cross-dressing and having sex with men. And Roy claimed to have photos that Bill and Joseph Bonanno, who were part of some kind of mafia or something, they corroborated that they were real. So yeah, Barbara Walters was friends with a guy who literally blackmailed J. Edgar Hoover for being a cross-dresser, and Jeffrey Epstein. That's all the information. I made that more about Roy, even though this was an entry for Barbara Walters. But yes, Ghislaine Maxwell. I'm going to be honest with you. I'm going to keep it really brief on her because I could yap a lot about her. But she is a British socialite. What the fuck is a socialite? But anyways, she was basically also known for being Epstein's right-hand woman and his mistress slash girlfriend fuck buddy thing, whatever they had going on. I don't know. There's a lot I want to say about her. I got my own opinions as well. A lot of people talk about the importance of Epstein, but when you look at Epstein, like when you zoom out and really look at him, he kind of was a fall guy, and you can verify this because he's dead and she's alive. And I tell this to people all the time, I'm pretty sure it was more of her as the front runner than it was of him. And I decided I'm just gonna talk about that in another video and try to break down Ghislaine Maxwell, her siblings, and her father. Because if you know who her father was, then that makes way more sense as her being in charge than it does for Epstein to be in charge. So, Sam Pizar was actually a lawyer and a confidant of Robert Maxwell, Ghislaine Maxwell's father. Ghislaine's father, who was allegedly, not confirmed, rumors, a part of Mossad. Mossad intelligence is essentially the Israeli version of like the CIA or secret services, something of that caliber, but that's what Mossad is, but for Israel. And this also explains earlier why I specified, I don't know if you remember, but a few entries back, I literally threw in someone's description that they were part of, like, I think Israeli banking or government, something like that, but I'm throwing that out there for reasons. Basically, the overarching theme is a lot of this is for sexual blackmail. The whole entire Epstein thing is for sexual blackmail, and it is coming from the Israeli government. Naomi Campbell is a British model, actress, singer, and businesswoman who began her career at 15. She was a friend of both Diddy and Epstein. She claimed that she had no clue that Epstein was doing what he did and didn't have a good relationship with him, but one of the confirmed victims, Virginia again, came forward and was like, nah, you definitely knew what was going on. Like don't front like you didn't know. You knew what was happening. Not only was she good friends with him, but she knew what was going on, and some of the rumors even surfaced that she could have been a handler. Again, allegedly a handler for some of the underage girls, and probably just of age girls. I don't know. But yeah, she could have been a handler. She also called the very second person on this list I named, Azzedine Aliyah, whatever. But she called him Papa when she was 16. Do with that information as you wish. Naomi has had multiple convictions for assault. And when I say assault, I don't mean sexual assault, like kicking people, spitting on people. At least 2, maybe 3 incidents where she threw a cell phone at somebody. So it got so bad because like people kept throwing assault charges on her, like, yo, bitch, what are you doing? That like they basically ordered like, yo, you got to get anger management. Like, you wildin', what are you doing? So she got anger management, and then like literally a year or 2 later, threw another cell phone at someone. So she has a track record of being very, very feisty. Flavio Briatore is an Italian businessman who served as the executive advisor for Alpine Formula One team. He has also been in multiple investigations for fraud. Also, he was married to Naomi Campbell and Heidi Klum. Ehud Olmert is the 12th Prime Minister of Israel. Before this, he was the mayor of Jerusalem. He's been mentioned in a whirlwind of corruption and bribery investigations throughout his political career, which he has vehemently denied. I always hate it when it says they vehemently deny it. Why would anybody co-sign? It's like, yeah, bro, I was doing the fraud. Like, bro. Now, this is a bonus person. And again, this is also a person I want to remind you that there's 2 separate lists, okay? There is the flight log list, right? That is the list of everybody that's been on the private jet. That's not what this is. This is simply a list of everybody that was in his address book, or they call it the little Epstein black book. So this is just him having contact information, which is why I say don't immediately point fingers and think that everyone is guilty. But I definitely encourage you to ask these people, why are they in the list? Why are they associated with him? But this person I wanted to throw in there as a bonus. He wasn't listed in the contact book, but he might be in the flight logs. But either way, Matt Groening, whatever, the creator of The Simpsons and Futurama and Enchantment, I think it's Disenchantment. So he's a well-known American cartoonist, right? And he was mentioned by one of the victims. This is a weird story. She basically made claims that Epstein demanded that she give Matt a foot massage. So he takes his shoes off and his socks or whatever, right? And she starts trying to give him a foot massage. She basically said that she almost threw up in her mouth because his feet were very smelly, very crusty, and he had yellow toenails. And it's something about the toenails being yellow that's hilarious because I just think about the Simpsons characters. And I'm like, I wonder if he came with the idea of the Simpsons by like taking a dump and like looking down at his feet and was like, what if people were like my toenails? Yeah, that's the creator of The Simpsons. Tom Pritzker is an American billionaire heir. So he didn't get it out the mud, he inherited it. So he is the CEO of Pritzker Organization. And I wanted to throw him in here as well. He was not listed in the little black book, I don't believe, but you can actually find news articles of his name being tied up into this, which is why it just stuck out to me one day when I heard about it. I was like, what? But this guy is, he's literally the executive chairman of Hyatt Hotels. I want to throw people in here that you can link back to something. So yeah, the executive chairman at Hyatt Hotels was in Epstein's contact book. This is a freaky one. And after this, we're going to break the list into a second part. So Kevin Spacey is an American actor known for his roles in various movies and TV shows, I believe. Seven, A Time to Kill, Horrible Bosses, Baby Driver, House of Cards. Kevin Spacey has had multiple victims come forth and accuse him of sexual misconduct over the years, and multiple victims have died, which I really wanted to cover him because his is like one of the juicier stories, but at the same time, I'm going to put a disclaimer right now. I want to live. I'm not taking any drugs. I take vitamins every day. Last time I checked, I was pretty healthy. I'm not a reckless driver. I'm like about to be 35, bro. I'm pushing up unk status here. So I drive normal. In other words, there should be no reason for me to suddenly collapse. It can happen. Anybody's time can come up. But it would be very coincidental if it comes up now for me. I wanted to go ahead and throw in an anonymous massage therapist claimed the actor groped him at a house in Malibu known... Fuck.
I'm dying in this fucking country ass fucked up town.
Fucking spiders, bro. Is it that same jumping spider? Known only as... There's all types of shit crawling on me. Known only as John Doe, he is now dead and the cause of death has not been revealed. Linda Culkin was another accuser who died after being hit by a car. Ari Ben, I don't know, is a Norwegian author and ex-husband of Princess Martha Louise, accused Spacey of groping him at a Nobel Peace Prize concert on Christmas 2019, and he is now dead of suicide. And I think they said he died on Christmas Day. So, yeah, that's three people that came out and said, yeah, Kevin Spacey touched me inappropriately, and that's three people that are now dead. Now, the other 12 victims, as of this recording, are still alive. But I know a mix of them have either dropped the charges or retracted their statements. I don't know if all of them have, but a few of them have definitely taken their word back, and they're just like, oh yeah, never mind, I don't know. Blah, blah. Now, I want to break this list up, and that part right there is the people that most of you probably know from one thing or another. These other people you may not know as well. A few names may stick out to you, but all of these people moving forward, all are incredibly powerful, are not well known, and most importantly, they have all attended Bilderberg group meetings. Every name moving forward. And I'm definitely going to be looking down to read some of this stuff because I don't know why I wanted to write these essays, but I wrote a lot of shit about these people. Please stick with me. Nicholas Berggruen is a billionaire investor and sponsor of influential think tanks. He's participated as a speaker at South by Southwest in 2019, invested in Televest, Space Monkey, Radish, Kojo, and many other investments over the years. He's also a member of the WEF. Okay, so Conrad Black. Let's move on to him. Conrad Black is a Canadian-British writer, former politician, financier, and fraud. It's also odd that he's been to 21 Bilderberg meetings. So, and if you don't know what Bilderberg group is, you know what? I'll try to link it. I may do a deeper dive video just again but I'll link it to the old channel where I loosely talked about them in the conspiracy theory iceberg. But this dude was ranked number 238 wealthiest people in Britain. He's also co-hosted a weekly talk show, The Zoomer, which premiered in 2013 on Vision TV in Canada and ran for 2 years. And during that 2 years, he interviewed Justin Trudeau, Boris Johnson, and Donald Trump, all three before they became the Prime Minister, British Prime Minister, and President, respectively. Over the years, he's been convicted on multiple counts of fraud and one count of obstruction of justice, serving multiple prison sentences and paying hundreds of thousands of dollars in fines. In 2019, President Donald Trump granted him a full pardon. Tony Blair, Prime Minister of the UK, multimillionaire, and he's had a weird track record of lying that could be, honestly, its own deeper video in itself. Let me know in the comments if you want me to cover Tony Blair. In 2008, he became an advisor to Zurich Financial Services and JP Morgan Chase. And the JP Morgan Chase one is very controversial. The reason why: he got criticized because during the time period, they were also doing things in Iraq while he was also having a war in Iraq. So people were like, it's almost like you are essentially funding your own war and reaping blood money from the benefits. It was very odd. So he got critiqued heavily for that. He was also named in the Pandora Papers in 2021, which will be a separate video. So I'm just giving you guys all kind of spoiler alerts. So we're going to do the Pandora Papers. Gustavo Cisneros. He was a Venezuelan businessman and chairman of Grupo Cisneros. And he was a billionaire until he fell off the billionaires list in 2020. Basically due to the economic circumstances of Venezuela's economy and what he had his investments in, which sucks. Imagine being a billionaire and you fell off because you just placed bad bets in the economy. But other than that, it should also be known that he was one of the biggest shareholders until there was a buyout at Univision. Since he stepped down, he's passed the title of CEO over to his daughter from Grupo Cisneros. And in 2023, he passed away at the age of 78. Michael Heseltine was a long-time career British politician. He signed the first tranche of the Al Yamama arms deal, which was worth 40 to 50 billion British pounds. This involved 72 Tornado planes, 30 Hawk trainer jets, and 30 other trainer planes. Later on, this specific deal would be investigated, but nothing came of it, so... Well, actually, we don't know that. I take that back. Something could have came of it, but they never released the findings of the investigation, so we don't know if something crazy was in there. If I'm just gonna take a stab at it, I would say they investigated for like fraud or something, like maybe the funds weren't going to where they said they were going, or maybe they figured out somebody was benefiting that shouldn't have benefited from it. Again, blood money. So, Paul Hoffman. Paul Hoffman was a U.S. businessman that led the implementation of the Marshall Plan from 1948 to 1950 and was the president of the Ford Foundation. Now, this is not Ford Automotive, by the way, I just want to throw that out there, not Ford Automotive. Ford Foundation is something different. The Marshall Plan was also called the European Recovery Program by sending over $13 billion to fund rebuilding efforts, and this is post-World War II overseas. At least $655 million was set aside for the CIA, which was used for propaganda, fronts, and finding select people and parties. The Ford Foundation was started to funnel money to the front groups like NGOs and independent media. Chances are they have very similar purposes today. John Huntsman was the Deputy U.S. Trade Representative, United States Ambassador to Singapore, Governor of Utah, and U.S. Ambassador to China. Atlantic Council Chairman. A lot of roles. And, damn, we're still going. And U.S. Ambassador to Russia. That's actually probably important. Don't leave that out. He was also appointed to the board of Caterpillar in 2012, board of directors for Chevron from 2014 to 2017, and he served on the board of Brookings Institution and Carnegie Endowment for International Peace and more. Walter Isaacson. is an American journalist who has written biographies on Henry Kissinger, Benjamin Franklin, Steve Jobs, Elon Musk, and more. And as of 2024, he's a professor at Tulane University, and since 2018, he's been an interviewer for PBS and CNN news shows, Amanpour and Company. Also, it's important to note, he was the chairman and CEO of CNN starting in July 2001 to 2003, and that's when he stepped down to go to something called the Aspen Institute. John Kerry was the 68th U.S. Secretary of State serving under President Barack Obama, and has been on one Bilderberg group meeting, so only one. Forbes estimates that his net worth is about $750 million. Henry Kissinger. Henry Kissinger served as the 56th U.S. Secretary of State from 1973 to 1977 under Richard Nixon. Big boy rich. Tricky Dick is what they called him. Pause. I didn't make that name up. By some, he's been called the most effective U.S. Secretary of State by providing mediation and being an ambassador abroad to de-escalate numerous conflicts. But on the other hand, he has received a lot of criticism and allegations of being part of war crimes as well. So it's a lot of conflicted news. Some love him, some hate him. That's Big Kiss. On September 11th, 2001, he was sued. Yeah, literally, on September 11th, 2001, that day of all of the days, he was sued by the family of the Chilean military commander Rene Schneider, who was killed in a botched kidnapping in 1970. Kissinger has been to 44 Bilderberg group meetings. God, this bench is hurting my ass. It's pure stone. Henry Kravis, or Kravis, I don't know, is a multi-billionaire American businessman. He's also the co-founder of KKR & Co., a global investment firm with over $5.8 billion in annual revenue, as well as KKR Global Institute. So KKR & Co. is an intelligence agency that he funded with his own money, which is insane that if you're rich enough, you can just make your own privatized CIA. Crazy, right? He would go on to hire the ex-director of the CIA, David Petraeus, I guess I said that right, and he would nominate him to be one of the head people to run KKR & Co. Because why not? Get the CIA into a privatized CIA. They already got the experience, so why not? Now, David Petraeus would later be tied to the biggest weapon trafficking in literally history, implicating at least 17 states, all for something you can look up called Operation Timber Sycamore, an operation to remove Syrian President Bashar al-Assad from power by supplying ISIS with weapons. That's I'm the only person that finds this shit crazy. Like, what? But however, according to U.S. officials, it was run by Special Activities Division, not KKR&K, even though the head of KKR&K is tied to it. But KKR&K, I keep saying KKR&K. KKR & Co. Damn it, I'm sorry. Peter Mandelson is a British Labour Party politician who is the UK ambassador to the US. He's the president of the international think tank Policy Network and been to 7 Bilderberg groups, and also is a member of Trilateral Commission. Again, I did a video over Trilateral Commission on the old channel as well. It's very, very similar to Bilderberg group in my opinion. It's just these rich and powerful people, they get together for like a week and they discuss things that you and I can't know about. John Micklethwaite began his career at Chase Manhattan, which there's been a few overlaps. I don't know if y'all have caught throughout this. I've mentioned Chase Manhattan a few times, or JP Morgan Chase. I've mentioned Manhattan specifically. I've mentioned Israel specifically. There's probably something there. I just don't know what it is yet, but I've said those few things like multiple times. I don't know if y'all have caught that. So he started out at Chase Manhattan, like I mentioned. After that, he would become an editor at The Economist, and just over time building his repertoire and getting more experience, he would then go on to become editor-in-chief at the Bloomberg, which also is something I think I've mentioned a few times. Bloomberg. I also thought it was good to throw this in there. This doesn't, well, I don't know, maybe this does tie into something, but don't forget that I mentioned that Bloomberg was part of this, right? who's like, I think the CEO or founder of Bloomberg News, whatever. Well, you know, Micklethwait is, of course, the editor-in-chief. And whenever Bloomberg was running for president, what year was it? What year did this take place? It was in 2019, so of course for the 2020 election. He ordered his staff not to investigate their boss. What? Okay. So he ordered his staff not to investigate their boss because he was one of the Democratic candidates, of course, running for the presidential election. So both him and his boss are in this little black book. He told his staff, do not investigate your boss, or my boss, I guess, you know, from his point of view. And he's also been to 13 Bilderberg Group meetings. So that's John Micklethwait. Moving on. Robert Murdoch is an Australian-American media mogul who has acquired various newspapers in Australia and New Zealand before expanding into the UK through the 50s and the 60s. He is said to be more of a propagandist, but I mean, that's just people yapping, but also a person utilized by the deep state to shape public opinion. Form your own opinions on that. I'm not claiming any of this, but throughout his career, he's also been the chairman and CEO of News Corporation, 21st Century Fox, and CEO of Fox News. With his success at Fox, he had great success for launching shows that you and I love, such as X-Files and The Simpsons. All coinky dinks, bro. There's a relationship with Murdoch and Donald Trump. At a point during the 2020 election, Trump called Murdoch and screamed at him for letting Fox News call the state of Arizona too early in his point of view. Murdoch also faced allegations in 2011 that his company, including News of the World, had been regularly hacking the phones of celebrities, royalty, and public citizens. Bill Richardson is an American politician and governor of New Mexico from 2003 to 2011. In 2021, Richardson went to Myanmar, explaining that the main focus was to speed the delivery of COVID-19 vaccines from the COVAX facility to Myanmar to circumvent a fourth wave. Bill also personally visited Epstein's range. What year was that? Does it give me a year? Did I give myself a year? I did not give myself a year, but it is also cool to know that he was also the recipient of $50,000 donation from Epstein to his 2002 and 2006 gubernatorial campaigns. He was one of the names, of course, revealed by one of the victims of the Epstein case, but of course he has denied all the claims, and he has since passed away at the age of 75 in 2023. David Rockefeller, throw your diamonds in the sky if you feel the vibe, was an American banker, chairman, and CEO of Chase Manhattan Corporation. See what I'm saying? Like, he was invited to the first Bilderberg meeting in 1954 and was sometimes referred to as a life member. He's been in a series of controversies because, I mean, if you own a bank as big as Chase Manhattan, you're going to be in controversies regardless. Whether, I mean, that's just my thought. Like, you know, the whole break eggs, make omelet shit, whatever. I mean, it's going to happen at some point. And like I think we've all said, you don't become a billionaire by being a nice guy. There's definitely people you got to step on to be a billionaire. It's unfortunate. I don't know the details of all of these controversies. You can look them up. But one of the main accusations was during World War II times, he was aiding the Axis powers. Again, you can look into all that and take a deeper dive if you wanna. But that is David Rockefeller. Charlie Rose is an American journalist and talk show host from 1991 to 2017. Notable credits are Charlie Rose, 60 Minutes, 60 Minutes 2. I didn't know 60 Minutes had a sequel, but okay. Person to Person, CBS News, Night Watch, CBS This Morning, and Charlie Rose Conversations. Let's see, he's been to 5 Bilderberg Group meetings, and And this is where we get into the juicy stuff. So Rose had sexual misconduct allegations in 2017, where 8 women who were employees of or aspired to work for him accused him of various acts of sexual misconduct, including harassment, groping, and making lewd phone calls. It should also be noted that allegations came forth later on in 2018, and these allegations came alongside Harvey Weinstein's allegations as well as Kevin Spacey's allegations, but 27 more women accused him of sexual harassment with very similar claims to the initial women. Shortly after that, he was fired from CBS This Morning, and as of 2024, he had more sexual harassment lawsuits brought against him by 3 people from CBS This Morning, the place that fired him from the other allegations. However, the 3 victims or plaintiffs from CBS This Morning all came back and retracted their statements. They said basically there was no ill intent on his part. Evelyn D. Rothschild was a British financier and a member of the Rothschild family. Throughout his career, he was the deputy chairman of Milton Keynes Development Corporation, chairman of The Economist, which I want to say I mentioned The Economist earlier in someone else's entry, and also director of IBM UK Holdings Limited, and chairman of Racecourses. United Racecourses, my bad. And this is a good one. Director of De Beers Consolidated Mines and chairman of British Merchant Banking and Securities House Association. Boy, ain't that a mouthful. He was also at time a director of Conrad Black's Daily Telegraph newspaper, which, if you remember, Conrad Black was like one of the first people I think I mentioned under the whole Bilderberg specific group meeting people. In 2022, he died at the age of 91 in London, and in 2025, literally this year, several women came forth speaking anonymously to The Guardian, claiming that he engaged in serious misconduct in the late 90s. The reason why it took them so long to come forth was because they claimed he was a super powerful dude, which, I mean, he was. This dude was not only like super rich, but he was super influential, super powerful, and he was a Rothschild. So they basically didn't want to end up like, you know, coincidentally, they didn't want to end up coincidentally like some of Kevin Spacey's victims. Nope, not victims. Shit. You get what I'm saying? Because, you know, I always like to explain to people are like, why don't they come forth? Like, I'll be honest, you know, in regular sexual harassment and sexual assault cases, I get it. Please come forth. But like, when you have people that control armies, shoot missiles, you know, literally have the CIA on speed dial, it's a little harder than just, I'm gonna call them out. Like, even right now, I'm like, why the fuck am I making this video? Like, this is information that I think we should know, and I did have a call to action I wanted to do at the end of this video. I'm probably going to just reinforce it. I'm going to say it now because I only have like 2 more entries to go. What do you do with this information, right? I know many of us think the same thing, because at this point you should realize the government's probably not going to do anything about it, because a lot of people in the government were the people doing this. I'm gonna say a lot of people in the government, but some people in the government were people doing this kind of stuff. These people, like I mentioned at the beginning of the video, these people are your bankers, they are your politicians, they are the people that are supposed to keep you protected at night, but then you're figuring out that they're doing coups and they're doing this and that and
Fuck, I can't see.
Shit, bro. All these bugs and shit. But these are the people doing all this stuff, so who do you turn to? Like, it's one of those questions, like, you know, when the police are acting up, who do you call? And I mean, it's like that, but just at a way larger scale. So if all these people are doing all this, you know, where do you go with this information? Now, I have a theory. Again, I don't know anything. Who am I? But I would tell people as a call to action, don't do anything irrational. You don't have to be Luigi, you know, Mangione to get the idea across. You don't have to do that. In my opinion, all you really got to do is ask these people over and over until they give you an answer. Because the thing, and again in my theory, that these people fear more than anything is being held accountable and being embarrassed. A lot of these people are sociopaths and psychopaths, and these people enjoy power. They enjoy being rich. And the reason why I called the title of this video is "The Only Fool Is You" is because that is exactly what these people think. You're a fool You are going to give these people willingly your money, your blood, sweat, and tears, and this is what they do in return. They think you're poor. And if you notice, a lot of these people on the list, you know, I don't want to lean either way or the other, Republican or Democrat, but as you can see behind the scenes, all these people hang out with each other. This is why I always laugh when people are like, oh, you know, you're stupid if you pick this politician. I'm like, no, they think that about you. I think there was a clip that went viral, you know, a little bit back where Donald Trump and I think Obama were like sitting laughing with each other. And I'm like, they have more in common with each other than they do you. So yeah, that's how it's going to be. They relate to each other. They're rich, they're powerful, and you are a fool that worships them and gives them money. So, and again, like I said, I don't think you're a fool, you know, because I'm in the same boat as you. I'm just a regular dude out here chilling at, you know, a park that I pray to God this audio isn't too windy, but, you know, we'll see. First test run, bear with me, people. But I at least wanted to give you some banger information, and hopefully you can sit through all of the bullshit. So anyways, let's get on with the other two entries. George Wiedenfeld was a British publisher, philanthropist, and newspaper columnist. He was also a self-proclaimed lifelong Zionist and was on good terms with popes, prime ministers, and presidents. With a Nigel Nicholson, they started a publishing company that would go on to publish classics such as London Fixture, Portrait of a Marriage, and Lolita. In 1949, Wiedenfeld served for a year as the political advisor and chief of cabinet to Chaim Weizmann, the first president of Israel. So I wanted to kind of just put that at the bottom, just kind of anchor it off. But that was the last entry listed on the Bilderberg group list. So all of these people have a cross section of not only being on Epstein's little black book, but also being literally attendees at the Bilderberg group meeting. Now, I know you're thinking about how do you get some of this information, so I'll just save you a little bit of knowledge of having to go back to my other video, but you should watch it anyways because I'll take a deeper dive. But the way the Bilderberg group is, they give out very little bit of information to the public, and that little bit of information is they tell you the guest list of who all is invited, and they tell you the topics, so they give you an outline. They don't tell you the details of the topics, so you don't know the actual meat and potatoes, but they tell you, you know, oh, we're going to be talking about climate change and how it affects the European highways or some shit. I don't know, just made that up. But they'll at least give you the outline of what they talk about, but they don't actually tell you the detail, if that shit makes sense. So let me just take a deeper dive into what you can expect from me on the channel. So a few things you can expect. You can expect this to be a series, so I'm going to be real with you guys. A lot of things came up on the last one that kind of got me out of the groove of recording videos. One of those things is I used to work from home, and then I had to return to the office, and like me going to the office was a 2-hour drive to there and back. So by the time I got done, I was drained, bro. I was out of it. I was like, I don't feel like doing anything except playing video games and chilling. I don't want to do anything. But now, luckily, I've been blessed. Fucking wind, bro. But I've been blessed to, you know, work from home again. So now I'm doing that again. I'm trying to figure out ways to be more consistent with you guys, but also at least make some compromise so I don't get burned out or I feel like I'm grasping at straws for information. So the way I'm doing it is series. So there's going to be a series. I'm going to try to aim anywhere between 6 to 8 episodes. This is episode 1, of course. Expect at least 5 to, you know, 7 more. And I'm going to do it on a weekly basis. So you can expect another one the next week. And another thing is, since it's going to be a series, that means there's going to be breaks. But I'm going to try to at least do 3, maybe 4 seasons a year. We'll see how I feel. Again, like I said, the main thing is I don't want to get burned out on you guys, especially before we start kicking this off. Thank you for sticking around this long as well. Yeah, I have one more entry, and I just realized, literally, I made this whole fucking list, and I realized that I did not do this person's name, and they are on the list, which is insane. I got to be fair, because I did Bill Clinton, who's a Democrat. I got to do somebody else, and I've mentioned his name a few times. So out of everyone that I have mentioned so far in this, I'm not joking, and I'm also not biased. I swear I'm not biased. but Donald J. Trump had the biggest entry when it came to Jeffrey Epstein. And it's also pretty graphic. And I'm just going to let you know right now, I am going to be reading this. Again, I apologize. And I promise most of my videos don't have me looking down this much, but I'm really trying to make sure I don't jack this up because I'm not trying to get taken out. I'm not trying to go live in the dirt in, the desert. And I'm not trying to get sued for things that I misquote. So please bear with me because I'm trying to stick here for longer on this channel. So hopefully that minor sacrifice can lead to something greater. A court case against Trump by an anonymous victim in the Southern District Court of New York in 2016 described how Epstein and Trump raped a 13-year-old girl numerous times on different occasions. And Trump and Epstein were said to argue about his preference, basically saying that he does not like to have sex with virgins. That's Epstein's job. Epstein had lured this girl to his New York residence with promises of modeling opportunities, assured the girl she would be killed if anyone was to know what happened. Trump and Epstein were summoned by the court to appear as defendants 2 months into the court case, failing to appear. The case got dismissed by voluntary dismissal by the girl's lawyers 5 days before the U.S. 2016 election with virtually zero media coverage. Epstein also shared a banker from the Deutsche Bank and Citigroup with Trump, Thomas Bowers, who loaned hundreds of millions of dollars to both men and was under the scope of the FBI because of these loans, but was found dead in November of 2019. But yeah, that's the video, y'all. Heavy stuff. I'm gonna try to at least pre-record a few more videos because, again, like I said, I'm dropping a lot of crazy, ridiculous, redonkulous things, and I hope to stay here a lot longer for you guys because I got a few other subjects I want to talk about. Like I said, I want to put a whole video together about Ghislaine Maxwell. Ghislaine Maxwell. I'll say Ghislaine now. I want to put a whole video together about Ghislaine Maxwell. This is the beginning of season 1. Season 1's theme is going to be like corruption, fraud, scandals on like a mass scale. That's going to be season 1. And yeah, other than that, hope you guys have stuck around this far through all my yappage. And yeah, subscribe, please subscribe, share this video. And oh yeah, I mentioned I actually want to do a call of action. This is my last thing, I swear. So at the beginning of this video, I mentioned that like I just covered a small fraction and I had to look down because this is so much information, right? There's over 1,000 names in that contact book, right? There's like over 1,000 names and I've covered like a fraction of them. So my call to action for you is to share this information with some of your favorite content creators on X, Reddit, whatever, wherever, and see if you can get other people to cover names that I didn't cover, because this is a huge list, guys. And like I said earlier, no one's gonna save you. No one's gonna save us because you're a fool, and fools, I don't know, don't get saved. I don't know where I was going with that, but you know, that's the whole thing too, is guys, they know that this is large and there's not going to be a lot of people that can parse through all of this information. But the list is out there, and by now I know multiple people have downloaded it. So yeah, do what you can, send this out to other people. Yeah, and just challenge some of your favorite creators to cover the list. And again, that's all you got to do. You don't got to do anything crazy. I'll never ask you guys to do anything of violence or to do that weird stuff that dude did with Nancy Pelosi. I'll never ask you guys to do anything like that. Just simply ask them why. Why are you listed? What was your role in this? You know, there's certain questions you can just ask these guys, and like put pressure on it too. Like, again, you don't have to do anything physical. You don't have to threaten them, but you just say, hey, listen, bro, I'm not buying your next album until I figure out why your name was on that list. I'm not buying your product. I'm not supporting you. I'm not voting for you. And you just have to ask these questions. Because again, that's what keeps these people going. You keep these people going. These people are famous. because we put them there. These people are rich because we put them there. We give these people money. We give these people platforms. We give these people positions of power. And that is your best bet, is to take all of that back. Just tell them, I'm not buying your shit. I'm not subscribing. I'm not voting for you. I'm not doing this until I figure out why your name is on that list. That's all it takes, really. But other than that, that's enough yappage. I can't feel my butt anymore from this very concrete bench. I hope the view behind you has been good. I haven't had a chance to really look at it. And if the wind isn't too bad, I'll be doing more like this. Other than that, subscribe, share, like, comment. Let's get some discussion going. Love you folks. Season 1, episode 1. We out.
Let's get the fuck out this country, motherfucker.